Hello, so this month's stitch is the netted stitch. I've started it here so you can kind of get an idea of what it'll look like. It's a little bit of a lacier stitch. I'm using 10 millimeter needles to kind of accentuate that laciness of it and create these great gaping holes in this stitch. Another thing to note about this stitch, because there's knitting together, it can be a little tighter, so you want to knit loosely. So let's just get started. When you do go to do your cast on, you'll want to have it in multiples of 2. I also said on there to add 2 to that number, and that's just because you're going to have a little bit of a border with your knitting one to start with, and you're going to knit one at the very end. So you just knit one, and then to do this stitch we will yarn over. So to yarn over, you just loop the yarn onto the hook, and then we're going to knit 2 together. So we're going to pick up 2 loops here. Sometimes you got to wiggle it in there. Sometimes you even have to just like pick up the yarn with your fingers to help you kind of get your needle in there. And then we're going to knit it just like regular. And you're just going to repeat this all the way to the end of the row, leaving 1 stitch to knit. And you don't want to forget your yarn overs. And then we're going to knit 2 together. And remember to knit, you go in from this side. This one's a little tighter, so I have to wiggle it in there. You yarn bring your working yarn and yarn over the right needle, and then you're gonna scoop it down through those 2 loops on here, and then pull the 2 loops off. And then we're gonna yarn over, pick up more stitches, these next 2. And yarn over, pick up the next 2 and knit those together. And then this is going to be the last one we do of knit 2 together. And because we're not doing 2 together here, I'm not going to yarn over, I'm just going to knit to finish off this row. So we've done a whole row. We've got a little more of our netting done. So you'll just repeat that until you get to your desired length, and then you're going to cast off. I actually started with a knit all the way across the first row, so I think I'll actually end mine by knitting all the way across. I'm going to do one more row before I cast off, just to give you guys a idea of how it will look. I yarned over, I'm knitting 2 together, yarning over, knitting 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, See here, I'm picking it up because I just could not get the needle in there. Knitting the two together. And here's our last knit two together. And this one's just gonna be a knit. Now you can also, every so often, make sure that you've got the right number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus my 2. So I have all the number of what I casted on still here. So that's a good sign that I'm doing this stitch properly. So I'm actually going to cast off just to give you an idea of how to do that. And I'm just going to cast off with a knit stitch. I'm not going to do any of the other stitches in this pattern. So knitting like normal, and then my second one I'm going to knit. And then to do the cast off, you'd go and you take your bottom one that you have over here and pull it up over it. And there's your first bind off. And then you continue all the way down the row, knitting and then pulling the top one past, or the bottom one past the top one. And if anyone has any questions on how to start, even knitting, I can answer your questions in the comments. I can also share some applicable resources if you have any question to help you figure out what you need to know. I've also scheduled for in our knit club some Spanish instructions. So if you speak Spanish mostly, or that's your preference for reading, it is Google Translate because I don't actually know Spanish, but I also found a video to help with that too. So I'm coming up on the last one. So then, I don't have any scissors right here, but I would cut this and then just pull it through. And that is our finished net stitch. So it's a fun, stretchy, lacy pattern.